Hello, hello, hello. Everybody, just getting my act sorted out. There we go. Hello, hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Hello, Moira. Hello, Brian. Welcome. I'm just going to do a little ASMR here and pour my drink. Welcome to another Live at 5. It's clear I would make a lousy news anchor because I would just be like, it's time for the 5 o'clock news at 5:20. Whoops, awkward. Anyway, hello. If you are joining me for the first time, welcome. It's time for another Live at 5. And I'm live. I'm Michael Bach. Welcome. Glad you could join me. Thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you're well. I hope you're safe. I hope you're healthy. I hope you're vaccinated. I was just watching a statistic. I haven't drunk this. Sorry. I was just watching the news. 6% of Democrats and 47% of Republicans will not get vaccinated. What a stark number. I know that's not what this is about, but I was like gooped when I saw that. Not the point. So I thought I'd bring you a little RuPaul's Drag Race background. I felt that was somehow appropriate for today's Live at 5. Because it's all things pride, it's all things homosexual. And I'm glad you could be with me. If you're new to Live at 5s, this is a participatory again. Is everything stable? I love technology because it's always so awesome. Oh, it looks like I may be good. There we go. I'm live again. I'm actually live. Let's try this again. Hello, Moira. Welcome back. I'm sorry. We were having some technical difficulties. I don't think you even heard me. I was saying like I would be a lousy newscaster. And this is why. Because I'd be like, welcome to the 5 o'clock news. It's 5:17. And I can barely turn on my computer. So hello. Welcome to Live at 5. Late as always. If you're new, this is an interactive, hello, Moira. This is an interactive thing. It's not just me babbling on. So please do share in the chat who you are and where you're from. Say hello. It's always appreciated. Because I am here to talk about things. If you don't know me, for those who don't know me, I am Michael Bach. And you can follow me. I am at the Michael Bach. Every Tuesday and Thursday for the balance of July. I did them in June, but now into July, maybe into August. I don't know. We'll see. They're not going really well, frankly. So who knows? We'll see. I'm going to have another sip of this. But yeah, so every Tuesday and Thursday, 5 o'clock Eastern-ish, I do a little live broadcast coming at you live from RuPaul's Drag Race. Not even close, but I just like the image. Yeah, so I talk about all things LGBTQ2+, or at least I am going to be for the next little while. Why, you might add? Because I have a new book coming out called Birds of All Feathers, Doing Diversity. No, wrong. That's the old book. That's the first book. I'm really doing well. I don't have a teleprompter. I have a new book coming out called Alphabet Soup, The Quintessential Guide to LGBTQ2+ Inclusion, which comes out March 29th. And you can learn more about that, including this new crowdfunding campaign we have going on for another few weeks. We've got some fantastic swag to give away for anybody that wants to contribute. You can go to alphabetsoup.lgbt to find out all about that. So I am going to talk about the alphabet. I'm going to talk about this initialism, LGBTQ2+. What is it? What does it mean? And I'm going to talk about other letters too. So please feel free to, in the chat box down below, drop a comment. If you'd like to find out about a particular letter, hello, Rug Body. Do I even want to? I want to know. I'm very curious about Rug Body. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. Drop in the chat which letter of the LGBTQ2+ initialism do you want to hear about? So let's start with I'm just going to go through the letters. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is the L, lesbian. Lesbian, I'm sure you all know, generally refers to a person who identifies as a woman who is primarily attracted to other people who identify as women. Using that language specifically, hello, Mike, because for a long time, this term was really exclusive towards people who were cisgender, so cisgender biological women. But there's been a lot of movement around embracing people of different genders or people who at least identify as female into the umbrella. So lesbian, a woman or person who identifies as a woman attracted emotionally, romantically, physically to other women. Then we've got gay, which is primarily used by people who identify as men who are attracted emotionally, romantically, physically to people who are also men. Sometimes you hear this as a broad term, where we say the gay community or the gay village or gay pride. And in fact, we shouldn't be doing that anymore. It should be LGBTQ2 plus pride or the LGBTQ2 plus village. Because saying it's the gay village or gay pride is really not inclusive. You'll also sometimes see women, particularly older women, but women in general, who identify with being gay as opposed to being lesbian because they have for whatever reason, they're not interested in using the term lesbian. But generally speaking, it's meant to be a term that defines men who are attracted to other men. The B stands for bisexual, which is an individual who is attracted to people of, let me go back. Historically, the term was meant to be used to describe a man or a woman who is attracted to either men or women. Now, as the evolution of gender has happened, as we have moved past some of this stuff, as we've learned more, that term can be used by people of any gender who are attracted to people of any gender. But there's a lot of debate about that. And in fact, this is where I'm going to insert the initial P into it. Now, it's not in LGBTQ2+, but the P stands for pansexual. And a pansexual person experiences sexual, romantic, physical, spiritual attraction to all gender identities and expressions. So they're attracted to the person, not the body. So it can be any, and there's a bit of confusion or debate, not amongst me. I'm neither, so I don't have any stake in the game. But some people in both bisexual and pansexual communities who would argue that that's not accurate. But that's generally what the terms are meant to be. The T traditionally has meant transgender. However, in recent years, it has been adjusted to be either trans-identified or just trans, to be an umbrella term for people who are non-binary, gender non-conforming, gender queer, gender fabulous, agendered, etc. It's meant to be an umbrella term for all gender identities and expressions, which is why it is queer and trans and not transgender, because transgender is a specific thing. Hello, Cassandra. Thank you for joining me. Yes, my sister is now joining me. I'll take an audience wherever I can get it. There is another T, though, that sometimes appears in the initialism, and that's for transsexual. It is an outdated term. It's a medical term that was used to describe people who had permanently changed their genders through surgery and hormones. But it is very much an outdated term. People don't use it anymore. So the T in LGBTQ2+ stands for trans or trans-identified. The Q stands for queer. And historically, that has been a bit of a pejorative. You generally have heard that as a negative towards people, which, whatever, all goes. And certainly my generation growing up, if I was called queer, it was a negative. And in recent years, it has very much been reclaimed by the community, particularly by younger members of the community. And it is an umbrella term to be more inclusive of the broad spectrum of identities. And in fact, it can be either a sexual orientation or a gender identity and expression, or it can be both, just to confuse matters. So the Q can either be a sexual orientation or it can be a gender identity. The 2 in LGBTQ2+, stands for two-spirit. And sometimes you'll see that at the beginning. So 2S, LGBTQ. We use LGBTQ2+. And two-spirit is a term that is generally speaking used by people who are Indigenous, Native American, so Indigenous to North America. It tends to be a term seen mostly in North America, sometimes in parts of South America, who also identify as being LGBTQ in some way, shape, or form. And it is meant to identify the two spirits of both male and female that live within an LGBTQ2+ person. And then there's the plus sign. And the plus sign is intended, and I say intended because it doesn't always work, but it is intended to be a catch-all. That's the wrong term. It's intended to be representative of all identities. So it's intended to say, okay, we've got LGBTQ2, but there's so much more that could be part of this because there's aromantic and asexual, and the list goes on. There's literally dozens and dozens and dozens of different genders and sexualities that could be included. If you want to have some fun, you can go to my website, michaelbach.com/pride flags. And I found an image, and there are 88 different pride flags representing a wide variety of different genders and sexualities. So the intention of the plus sign is to say, we're not going to say all the letters, but there is more. Know that there is more. Now, I would love to hear from people what letter they would like to know about, because that's not the entirety of the letters. So if you'd like to hear something, drop it in the chat down below, and I will explain, hopefully do my best to explain what it means. There are a couple, though, that I would like to also talk about. So there is another initialism. There's lots of initials. Let me start there. There's LGBT, LGBTQ, LGBTQIA. Sometimes you'll see a plus, sometimes you'll see an asterisk, sometimes you'll see 2, sometimes it's 2S. There's a lot of different initialisms out there. There's one that I talk about quite a lot, which is LGBTQIAAP, which is a mouthful, and that's why we say LGBTQ2+, plus. But the other initialisms in that one, or other letters in that initialism rather, there's another Q, which stands for questioning. And it's exactly what it sounds like, which is a letter that is meant to encompass people who are questioning their sexuality and gender, because of course it is a journey, right? You go through a bit of a journey around your identity. And so the second Q is about questioning. The I stands for intersex. And an intersex person, you may have heard the term hermaphrodite. I never want to hear you say that term. That is not a term you should be using. But intersex is a person who is intersex rather, is an individual whose sexual anatomy or chromosomes don't fit with the traditional markers of female and male. So when you're born, you are assigned at birth, male, female, or sometimes intersex. It's about 1 in 100, so 1% of children are actually intersex. Visible alterations, it's about 1 in 1,500. So small numbers, but still, in total, 1% of children do not know that they are intersex. Then one of the A's stands for ally, which is typically a person who is not a member of the LGBTQ2+ communities, who supports and advocates for the queer community. Sometimes you will see members of the community who are, in fact, allies themselves. So I am an ally of the trans community. I'm an ally of queer people of color. So I am an ally, but I'm also a member of the community. But historically, the term has meant to be people used for people who are straight and cisgender who are supportive and advocate for the community. The second A stands for asexual. And an asexual person is a person who generally does not feel sexual desire or attraction to any group of people. It's not the same as celibacy, in that celibacy is either an act that you choose or that is forced upon you. In the case of asexual people, they simply don't feel any desire or very little desire. There's also a couple other A's that could be included in that, and that's agender and aromantic. An aromantic person is somebody who is not emotionally attracted to other people or has very little emotional attraction. And an agender person is a person who does not necessarily identify with having any gender at all. So they identify as an agender person. There's lots of other letters. Oh, there's a question from my sister. She's asked 2 questions, just like being at home. So I was going to mention, she's asked, what is demisexual? And so that would be a D in the initialism. And demisexual is a term used to describe people who do not feel romantic, sexual or emotional attraction until they get to know the person really well. So, for example, a woman who she is married to a man, identifies as heterosexual at some point in her life, she meets another woman, she becomes very close with that woman, and that leads to a romantic and or sexual relationship. Now, some people would say, oh, she's a lesbian and she came out late. But in fact, our understanding now is that, in fact, she may never be attracted to another woman. She's attracted to one woman. So demisexuals are people who their attraction is based on another person and getting to know that person in a very deep manner. My sister's also asked, how does the GBA plus fit into all of this? That's a good question. So the GBA plus, which stands for gender-based analysis plus, the plus sign being understanding that gender goes beyond the binary of woman and man. But the whole idea of GBA plus is about analyzing and looking at policies, procedures, the way we do things, decision-making, budgets, through a gendered lens. So as an example, snow plowing. I know you're probably thinking, well, he's had too much wine, which is not entirely inaccurate. But if you look at the impact of snow plowing, if you ever see snow, the people that tend to be impacted on not having cleared streets are, one of the groups is women with children who are pushing around strollers. So there is an economic advantage to clearing the streets to make sure that women can get their kids where they're going in the middle of winter. That's obviously a out there example, but it's about looking at all decisions through a gendered lens. And to your question, the plus sign is all about the LGBTQ2 plus in GBA plus. That's a lot of letters. It's about looking through all of our decisions through the lens of gender, but knowing that we're looking past just biological women to all genders. Any other comments? I'd love to hear from people what letters they identify with, any letters that they want to talk about. I can just sit here and drink wine. That's all I kind of really have to talk about today. If you're just joining, you're late. Seriously. Thanks for stopping by. Remember to follow me. I am at the Michael Bach. Go to my website at michaelbach.com and sign up for my mailing list, because we're doing a monthly newsletter which has all sorts of goodies inside it. And it's only exclusive through the newsletter, so check that out. Also, go to alphabetsoup.lgbt to find out about my new book, Alphabet Soup, the quintessential guide to LGBTQ2+ inclusion, which comes out March 29th. We've got a crowdfunding campaign going on right now. You should check it out because I'm asking. That's really all the reason you should need. Because we're giving away swag, giving away lots of really cool swag. There's stuff. So check it out. And that's it. Oh, Moira, thank you. I was just about to call to it. Thank you, Moira. I appreciate someone's paying attention. Gender fluid. I did not talk about the term gender fluid. Interestingly, there isn't really a letter in the initialism for gender fluid. I've never seen it come up in any of the various initialisms that are out there. Gender fluidity is about people who identify as gender being fluid, so that on one day they may feel more masculine, and on one day they may feel more feminine, on one day they may feel more agendered than anything. And often gender fluidity, we see gender fluidity in the presentation, so in the gender expression. So a person who identifies as gender fluid may one day present in more typically masculine wear, and one day more feminine wear. If you look at Jonathan Van Ness on Queer Eye, he would be gender fluid because he has a beard, but he wears skirts, he wears high heels, just depending on how he's feeling that day. The other term I didn't talk about, thank you, Moira, for triggering my brain, is non-binary. So people who are non-binary do not identify with being either a woman or a man, which is the binary of woman-man. People who are non-binary just don't identify with either of those. I have a very good friend, one of my dearest friends is non-binary, and their pronouns are they, them. And I should have said, yes, my pronouns are he, him, his. I think, no, that's not in there. Where is it? There they are. My pronouns are he, him, his because I identify as cisgender. But a non-binary person would identify with neither male or neither woman nor man. And I keep fumbling over that. I need to differentiate. The terms male and female are sex assignments. The terms woman and man are genders. It's a subtle difference, but it's an important one, because under sex assignments, you only have 3 options: male, female, and intersex. Whereas under genders, you can have a very long list of gender and gender identities. If you've ever, tried on Facebook, go into your settings, you can change your gender. There is a very long list of potential gender identities. The other thing I would talk about is gender nonconforming. And this is a term that I actually identify with. And my sister is on here, so she's going to tell my parents, but who cares? It's in the book. And that means that I do not identify with the typical norms of man. I'm still cisgender, meaning that I like my penis, I'm very happy with my penis, I like others liking my penis, I'm good with it. But some days I identify with being more feminine, some days more masculine. I am just non-conforming to this concept, this ideal concept of what a man should be versus what a woman should be. There's a lot of stuff in here. Unpacking the alphabet and understanding it takes a lot. I would say that the one thing that you should sort of have an awareness about around this conversation of gender is it's not about you. It's really not. It's about the other person. It's about how they identify. Do they identify as being non-binary or genderqueer or aromantic or? Just be open to that. Ask questions. How would you like me to refer to you? What pronouns do you use? And then respond to whatever they say. It's that simple. It doesn't have to be complex. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's really just about how the other person identifies and opening yourself up to the reality that there is a lot of life beyond the binary of male and female, woman and man, straight and gay. So that's it for me. Thanks so much for stopping by. If you don't already, follow me on social media. I am at the Michael Bach. Remember to check out my new book, Alphabet Soup, The Quintessential Guide to LGBTQ2 plus inclusion, available March 29th, but we have a fun campaign going on right now. So check it out and find out what you can get. Endless crap that you don't need, but it'll be fun. It's fun stuff. Alphabetsoup.lgbt. And that's it. I'm coming back Thursday, July 8th, and I'm going to be talking about the difference between attraction, identity, and expression. Won't that be fun? So 5 o'clock Eastern-ish. Hopefully won't have any technical issues. I will see you then. Thanks for watching. I'll see you back here in a couple days. Bye.